If you are a lover of meat, lots of meat, maybe you're snacking on it, salamis, snack sticks, hot dogs, brats, lunch meats, these types, maybe you're thinking about going carnivore, a couple things to watch out for when it comes to these types of meats. And I'm gonna break it down to make health simple for you today. It's Dr. Livingood, and we're back with another edition of Eat This, Not That. The overarching point though is what is hidden in these packaged meats that should greatly concern you, especially pink slime, white slime. I'm gonna explain exactly what that is. But in this edition, we're going for Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah, Slim Jims. Do you remember this? He's still on the website. Unbelievable.
Step into a Slim Jim. Oh yeah.
Slim Jims, right? These guys right here, your favorites, against a healthy version. So I just picked one, the most popular I could think of when it comes to packaged meats, on-the-go snacks, your convenience store snacks. I did this a ton growing up. I just reached for those types of meats, but there's a lot of toxins hidden in there. What can you replace it with? I'm gonna break down the labels for you and the hidden ingredients. So let's go, Macho Man. Slim Jims. Okay, when you break these down, what you're looking for, I'll always teach you can't look at the front of the packages because this is enticing. 6 grams of protein in this Slim Jim. No artificial flavors, no artificial colors added to it. So just, your local grocery store, you're going to pick it up. Convenience store. Always want to go to the back of the label and check out the ingredients. So I took a snapshot of the ingredients that were down below here. You don't want to be looking at the nutrition facts. These can be very deceiving based on how big your serving size is. So it looks okay with 2 grams of sugar. It's got that 1 gram of protein, even though the front of it said that there was a lot more protein involved. See how they start to trick you right out of the gates there? 6 grams of protein is what it says right out of the gates. So this can be very deceiving on the back of the label. You're looking at the carbohydrates, it's 1 gram. You're looking at the sugars, it's 2 grams. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. However, there's 3.5 servings. So now you're 2 times 3.5, you're at 7 grams of sugar just in a beef stick. So we've got to go all the way down, get past these product details, get past the warranty, get to the ingredients. Now I snapshotted it for us so we can dive in and I can break this down what it exactly looks like. There's a lot of concerning ingredients in a Slim Jim. I am going to show you the alternative, really how to make this simple, but this should be shocking for you. It's linked to a lot of significant diseases. If you're a Slim Jim eater, processed meat eater, maybe your husband is, maybe one of your family members is, gonna wanna share this one. Let's go. So in the ingredients right here, out of the gates, what type of meat are they using? So we got beef, and then we have this guy right here. We start getting into the mechanically separated chicken. Anything mechanically separated starts to freak me out a little bit, and I start to really wonder, where did that exactly come from? Well, great question, okay? So overall, a Slim Jim, when you look at the overall ingredients, we're combining 3 different types of meats. It's not going to be your top quality cuts when it comes to these meat. A lot of them are from what I would call a pink meat paste, a slime that kind of holds these together. We're going to find a lot of other additives in here, especially when I want to talk to you about that nitrite we're going to get to in a moment. Really tied into, if you care about your prostate, if you care about your pancreas, you want to pay attention to that one. But let's go to the slime first, all right? So there can be 3 different types of separated meat. There is the lean, finely textured beef. You want to be looking out for that. There is the mechanical separated meat, okay? And then there is the advanced meat recovery. 3 types of this processed meat that ends up in there. I want to break the 3 of these down and show you exactly what they are. Kind of disgusting, kind of concerning. The first one, lean, finely textured beef. And so this is referred to as the pink slime. This actually went viral years ago. I was making posts and doing a talk on nutrition and actually showed a picture of this pink slime. Kind of went viral all over the place back in like middle 2000s, long time ago, okay? So this is processed beef trimmings and recovered materials from meat carcasses, like fat, connective tissue, a little bit of meat. They grind it all up, all right? Now they're gonna put that in a burger. They're gonna put that into meatloaf that you buy, maybe like a packaged, pre-made meatloaf. All the trimmings are heated up to 100 degrees. They spin it inside this big centrifuge, okay? After that, the fat is removed, and then the remaining beef bits are treated with ammonium hydroxide. They stink, and they contain a lot of bacteria. Kills the bacteria, the E. coli, the salmonella. So that's going in you. It's going to kill all the good bacteria inside of you as well. And then they're ground up, frozen into blocks, and that's what's used to make a lot of beef patties. So the government is actually looking at, should we put a disclaimer on the label letting people know this is finely textured beef that's in this product? That's what would be on a lot of your burgers. So now they've banned mechanically separated beef. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but they have not banned this yet. This is still considered safe for consumers. Doesn't sound that safe with the process of how they make it. The second type of meat used in Slim Jims, used in processed meat, is mechanically separated meat. Now this is going to refer mostly to chicken and pork. It's a paste-like and buttery-like meat product. And this is referred to as white slime. Still has a hint of pink to it. But white slime is from the carcasses that are forced through. The carcasses are forced through a device that is at high pressure, and it separates the bones from the edible tissue that's still left on the animal. This is the meat industry using every means possible to not waste a single teeny little ounce, even if it's a disgusting part of the animal. Now, the USDA does do us a favor and limits the amount of bone that they will allow in the end product, but it's still ended up in there. Now, manufacturers must label this mechanically separated pork or chicken or turkey, whatever they're doing. So they have to label it that. Now, mechanically separated beef has been labeled as unsafe for human consumption. Because of all the bacteria that ends up residing in this, it was spreading mad cow disease, and so they said no more of that, and they outlawed it. But this is what this stuff is made of. So there's pink slime, there's white slime, and then finally, there's advanced meat recovery. Now, what this means is, just like it sounds, is the remainings on the animal are scraped or shaved or pressured off of the bones. Now, without like crushing it or pulverizing the actual bone, it gets the excess off, especially from beef or for pork. If they mess up and the end product has 150 milligrams of calcium per 100 grams of material, now it falls into the mechanically separated category. So that mechanically separated is going to have a lot of chunks of calcium, hence Slim Jims, like I'm going to show you in a moment, on the label. So they've got to be careful when they do this with beef, because that's not fit for human consumption, but this process of advanced meat recovery is. Now, a lot of times this is just labeled as beef, or it's just labeled as ground pork. But the USDA says, hey, thank God, you're not allowed to have the spinal cord in there if you're doing it to that part of the animal. So this is what a lot of these processed meats are made out of. We've got to start getting more particular. Let's go back to our label and keep breaking this down. So right out of the gates, we've got very questionable meat. Obviously, if they're making them at this price, it's not going to be quality meat. And they're using this very, very processed, chemically laden, bacteria laden, bone laden type meat when it comes to mechanically separated chickens. Now, they put water in there, thank God, next, and then we really get into soy. And so we're starting to see soy show up. So we got one there, okay, type of soy we have, that's a soy flour. We have a hydrolyzed soy protein. You're going to see that show up a lot, okay? And we have soy lecithin. Now, all three of these placed in it. Soy has become really prevalent in our food supply, and soy has actually been found to be turned into 10% of the calories that we're consuming, especially in America. So it's becoming concerning because it's tied to so many negative effects. I think if you're getting it organic, you're getting it non-GMO, there's a place in the time when you could use soy or some soy-based products, specifically like in a type of soy sauce or type of amino sauce, but soy is tied to a lot of negatives. Check this out. Number one, soy is going to be tied to carcinogens, specifically glyphosate, which are going to be the herbicides, and then the other pesticides that are sprayed on the soybean itself ends up in you, and then also a lot of times genetically modified, and these are linked to types of cancers. In fact, there was a giant lawsuit against Monsanto, the maker of Roundup, which contains most of the glyphosate, and they found that it created a form of blood cancer in a man who won in the court of law a case proving that that's what it did. So we know this is tied to cancer. cancer, and it's going to end up in a lot of soy. Other major issues, soy creates a lot of inflammation. Not good. Most of us don't need more inflammation going on in our system. It can give you a little itchy throat in the back, kind of getting scratchy. You can kind of feel it not settling right. It's also tied into mineral deficiencies, which we are depleted in magnesium, potassium. So if you're having issues with cramping, if you're having issues with headaches, if you're having issues with scratchiness, itchiness, you might just be getting too much soy. Inadvertently, I don't really think about soy when I'm eating a beef stick, but that's why I'm making this video. Looking for it in your hot dogs, looking for it in your salami, looking for it in your processed meat. Back to the label, let's check this out. Next up, we're finding corn syrup. So we're just going straight up sugar. So there's where your 7 grams of sugar come from. Right from that corn syrup, hits the liver, and it instantly starts to create high triglycerides and fatty liver. Next, dextrose is going to be another form of sugar most of the time, more than likely from corn. If it was from maybe like a tapioca, then we'd be okay with it. But same thing with maltodextrin. If it's found more than likely in a corn source, if it expresses tapioca, then we'd be okay with it. But we want to watch those. Malt, barley. So there's just multiple sources of grains or things that are going to turn into sugars right when it hits your system and you're trying to eat a beef stick. So here you are trying to go, literally touts it on Amazon when you look up like a Slim Jim's like keto friendly. Not really. It's got 7 grams of sugar per stick, let alone a lot of the other processed meats you're eating. So the main one I want to point out here to end it is sodium nitrite. Now this is the big one that is involved in most processed meats. And sodium nitrite is an ingredient that's found in those meats to act like a preservative and protect the growth of bacteria. Now it kind of gives it a little bit of a salty flavor, so it's got some enhancement in the flavor of this udamame kind of savory type flavor. And it also keeps it a little bit more pink, but this one has huge implications. And so it's the main one you want to watch out for if you're going to buy processed meat, hot dogs, salami, Slim Jims, whatever it is. No nitrites included. No protectors of the food to make sure it doesn't spoil from bacteria. We don't want any of that in there because this thing's got big consequences. Number one, cancer-causing compounds, specifically in the pancreas, tied also to the prostate. Number two, it's directly linked to type 1 diabetes. This thing's really hard on the pancreas itself, tied to autoimmune related type 1 diabetes. The other concerning thing with it, number 3, is it limits your oxygen transportation and supply. It limits your blood cells, and that actually can create a form of anemia that can be very dangerous if not getting enough oxygen. That's not good for your brain. So number 4, it's linked to Alzheimer's. And so when we're not getting proper oxygen to the brain, this also accelerates neurodegeneration. And in this day and age, just not something that we really want to be tackling, not something that we want to be adding into our diets to make those problems worse. If you're anything like me, I have a grandmother that passed with Alzheimer's. I don't want to go down that road. I saw what it did to her. Simply eliminating something like a nitrite could make a big difference. Now, the last thing I would say about sodium nitrite, and just a concerning part of it, is there's actually forums online and out there on the internet of people that are wanting to harm themselves, take their own life. And a form that some people are using to do it, I actually found this on Missouri's Poison Control Center, like online, and information about what is poisonous. People are using the powder of sodium nitrite that is used in the foods, that is actually put into a Slim Jim, put into a hot dog, or a lot of processed foods. They're actually using that because it becomes so toxic it can actually take one's life. It's used as a form of suicide. So please, if you need help like that, reach out, get help. It doesn't have to be that way, but wow, if a lot of it can kill you very quickly, what does a little bit of it do slowly over time? A convenience store stop there, a cookout and a hot dog there, you're at the ballpark here, some slices of salami at night. It starts to add up if you're not paying attention to the nitrites, to the toxic meats, and to the excess sugars and additives like soy that are creating a lot of chemical buildup in the system. So what do? I love this type of food, and if you're into doing a carnivore type diet, you probably love that type of food. I don't choose to eat that way, but I do love good healthy meats, and I even make some of my own and process some of my own. Then I really know where it's coming from. But if you can't do that, what's a good brand you could buy? Let me show you one. So I want to compare Slim Jims up against a brand that I like, which is called Country Archer. Now, Country Archer is really paying attention to the quality of the meat and the ingredients in there, and they'll tout it. You can really know when someone's showing off because right in the title, they're going to put grass-fed. I like to see that. The cow is fed what it's supposed to be fed. The more grain you give it, the more inflamed it gets. It grows faster, but it gets more inflamed, and it helps balance the omega-3 anti-inflammatory ratios inside the animal. Gluten-free, high-protein snacks. And then I love this right here when I went to look for their ingredients. They said, proud of these ingredients. So I took a snapshot. Let's go dial into it a little bit and look. So right out of the gates, we are seeing that there is the grass-fed beef is right there for you. So let me get my marker. We'll mark this one up. So right out of the gates, we're seeing it. Grass-fed beef. Love to see it. No mechanically separated. None of the other three. No pink slime. No white slime. We got water next. Sea salt. So it's not even a processed type of sea salt. It's the real stuff. I like real salts because they hold a lot more mineral content. When you strip salt down to just NaCl, it can be toxic for the system. But when you get real salt, which a lot of us lack, we get those micronutrients, those minerals that so many of us need more of. Capsulated lactic acid. This is going to protect it. Then you start to get into the spices, which is just cultured celery powder. I absolutely love celery. I have several videos on YouTube about the benefits of celery. It's really good for the stomach, the acid of the stomach. If you'd like to know how to juice it and put it into your regimen, you can check those videos out. Garlic powder, going to be a very good one. Cholesterol, especially aged garlic, but in this sense, just garlic, regular, still going to have a good positive effect on the triglycerides and lipids inside your system. Red pepper, unless you had a sensitivity of nightshades, you're good to go there. Another good one, paprika, is actually dried red pepper. Didn't know if you know that. It's kind of crazy. Black pepper, this will help a little bit with absorption of some certain nutrients. And again, unless you have a nightshade sensitivity. Cherry power, you can see them as we work our way down through here. So a lot of benefits. And then finally, it's just a beef collagen casein. So they even tell us what the casein is made out of, which I really appreciate that. It gives a little color with some paprika. It gives a little color with some beta carotene. No problem with any of those. No toxic ingredients whatsoever. I feel a lot better about putting that into my mouth versus pink slime or white slime or something that really had to be stripped from the bone and is made up of the ligaments and the connective tissue and even some questionable areas of the animal. So I know a lot of us enjoy these. My kids, myself, my family, cookouts, the ballpark, on the go, in the convenience store, but these are readily available, a lot better options that you can be picking. So here's one that I do like, but when it comes to, hot dogs, when it comes to snack meats, salamis, different types, you want to be looking at the concept of some of these toxic ingredients that I was showing you here. So be looking for those. You can start checking any type of hot dog or salami or processed meat that you are grabbing, especially for sodium nitrite. That's a big one to be watching to make sure that you don't put into the system, and you can really start avoiding these. If you need more info on some of this, USDA, even on their website, has definitions that you can really look into, like have a question, ask USDA, right? I don't know, sometimes I don't trust some of these sources, but there is a knowledge article breaking down exactly what I just showed you about mechanically separated meat and the fact that mechanically separated beef is not even allowed in the United States anymore, yet we just keep pounding down these foods and they're making billions off of it with a B. That's how many Slim Jims are made each year. So Macho Man, I liked his wrestling style, but oh no, I don't want a Slim Jim. Reach for some Archer, read the back of your packages, go to the ingredients label, eat this, not that. If you want me to take you shopping and show you around the store and start reading labels like this regularly, check out this next playlist in this next video here where I'll actually go to the store with you and show you that. And I think that's what doctors should be doing to make health simple instead of just allowing you to eat this and ending up in their office taking a drug. This was the cause and then they're selling the solution. I'm not for that. I'd rather prevent this from happening, keep you healthy, and stay that way. So check out this next video. I'll keep bringing you more. It's Dr. Livingood, making health simple.